there guys. In this lesson I'm going to be talking about using the tools that you have at your disposal to be a better programmer. One of the awesome things about having chosen Java as your language of choice is that the tooling is incredibly robust and helps you along the way. You just have to spend some time on getting good at using the tools. So I'm going to show you some of my favorite ones. First, I'm going to talk about Eclipse Shortcuts. Then I'm going to show you a little bit about IDEs. That's the Integrated Development Environment. That's what Eclipse is. And then I'm going to show you a tiny bit about using the debugger. You can use that to see what's going on in your code as it's running. So first, for the shortcuts. I spent some time painfully trying to choose my top 5 shortcuts. But here they are. I'm going to include this slide with the lecture. So I'm going to demonstrate them. Probably the first thing I use most often is to format. So naturally when you're messing around, your code can get higgledy-piggledy, kind of like this, or it might be along the side or whatever. And format, it will line that all up for you. It's Control-Shift-F on a PC, and if you're on a Mac, it's the Apple key and Shift-F. So for each of these, I put the 2 different alternatives. Control on a PC is the same as the Apple key on a Mac. And then Alt on a PC is the same as Option on a Mac keyboard. Okay, so that's format. Then probably my favorite one is this Remove a Line. So to do that, you do Control D. And I'm always doing this. So you can use it to remove blank spaces like that when you have extra ones. You want to tighten things up a little bit. But you can also use it to remove a whole line if you wanted to do that too. Okay, next, move a line up or down. Alright, so this, you use the Alt key or Option if you're on a Mac, and you press the Alt key and then you use the arrows. And use the arrows to say, well, I want the line to go up or down. This is super useful. Here I'm just doing it with one line, but you can also choose a block of code, usually a method, so that when you move it around it's not going to break things, and just make sure you stay within the curly braces in the right spots. See, look, it's even giving me a little hint there. So that's how you move stuff up and down. That's super useful. I use that all the time. Okay, the next one that I chose is auto import. So this is an absolute necessity when you're using something that's not part of the Java language itself and it needs to be imported separately. You can do this. See, it's going to tell me that it's not here, and I could click the import, but I don't want to use my mouse. So I'm going to do the auto import, which is Control-Shift-O. Now it's giving me an option because there are 3 different types of list available, but a lot of the time it'll just jam that in there when there's only one option. That's auto import. And the last one is go to declaration. So I've shown you've seen me going down into Java like this. So what I'm about to do is I'm pressing on my Control key and then I'm hovering over on the thing I want and then clicking on it. And then that's opened the list class that's part of Java. You can use it like that, but also you can use it in your own code. So say I have a method, this set filling method, and I want to see where it's been declared and I want to look at it. So I do the same thing, press Control, hover over, and then when I click, it's going to jump to the method. Now this is a pretty small class, so you can't really see the power of it here, but if you had multiple classes, clicking on the method will go directly to a different class. It'll jump over there and pull it up for you so you can inspect it. And that's kind of like a nice way to jump around. Just hold down your Control key and then hover over it and click. Okay, those are my top 5. Your exercise for the end of this video is going to be to choose your at least 3 that you'd like to learn. Okay, there's a list. Let me see. Eclipse Shortcuts. You can get lists of these everywhere, but I do like this one because it's well organized. 103 I'm going to put this link in here so you can see it's categorized by different types, and there's lots to choose from. So I'm going to have you guys actually choose 3. And then what I recommend as a way to learn it is to put a post-it on your desktop. So write on the 3, put the shortcuts on it, and then stick it to your computer so it's there every time in your kind of in the corner of your eye. And then whenever you're writing your code, maybe they'll sort of creep in and stay in your mind. And then when you've learned those 3, then you can learn more. Anyways, that's your exercise. Learn 3 shortcuts. But I'm not done because I want to show you a couple of other things. Alright, so first of all, this is the Eclipse IDE. There's 2 big IDEs that Java developers use. The other one is called Intellij. Intellij is probably a better IDE than Eclipse. It does autocomplete better for you. The debugger is better. I chose Eclipse for a few reasons for teaching you guys. One of the reasons is because I think when you're learning, sometimes it's good not to have too much help because it's like magic, and it sometimes can be confusing where things are coming from. So I wanted it to be a little more manual. And then the other thing is that Eclipse runs on less hardware. Intellij tends to be a little more memory intensive because it's essentially smarter. But if you wanted to get it and play around and possibly switch IDEs, you would come in here and go to download. I want to show you this because there's 2 options. Everybody says that Intellij is expensive, so they use Eclipse, but actually Intellij is free too. You just have to make sure to click the community edition here when you download it. And that's pretty much going to have all of the things you need, at least at this stage, and will probably be an improvement on Eclipse. Now, if you're used to Eclipse, just stay in there. It's all good, and you'll be, among the 50%, I'd say, that actually, pretty much 50-50 use each IDE. But I wanted to tell you that it was out there because, it's a large part of the Java ecosystem that I haven't touched on before. Okay, so that's IDEs. The last thing before I go is I haven't ever talked to you guys about a debugger, and that's kind of a good thing to know how to do. So the debugger works like this. I have some code here and I'm going to set a breakpoint. A breakpoint is where it's going to stop. So to set a breakpoint, I just double click in this margin and see it's put that little blue button there. Okay, now I'm going to actually run this in debug mode. So you see this little bug that's up here right beside my play button. I'm going to debug instead of run. It's going to open the debugging view for me. And so what this is saying is that it's at this line of code right now. And over here I can see the variables and what is in stuff already. So if I open taco, see, I can see tortilla, it has a default value, so it's set to corn, and filling is null right now. Okay, to use the debugger, you usually have 2 steps. So you can step over here, you can step into the code, that's the little arrow like that, or you can step over the code. I'm going to step in to show you how that works. In means it's going to go into the set filling method. Now it's here, and the green line showing me where we're at. It's already set the filling to carne asada. Oh, filling, sorry. Yeah, I was wondering. Okay, so let's look inside the actual taco. We don't have a filling yet. It's still null. Now I'm going to step over this line because I don't want to look at the innards of the system at print line code. Over. I still don't have a value here for my filling, so I'm going to step over this again. And now you can see that because it's run this line of code here, it set my filling to carne asada. Okay, so then I can continue to step through. This is a very short piece of code. But if you had a whole bunch more code and you were done, you could stop or you could play through and then it will finish to the end. And then to get back to your Java mode, you got to go to the Java perspective, which is over here in the corner for me, like that, and then roll back to normal. So that was a whirlwind tour of the debugger. I just wanted to show you that it exists. But I feel a little bad that it's not very thorough, but you know, we have limited time. Okay, so your homework is to pick your 3 shortcuts and then set yourself up to learn them passively, perhaps. Okay, good luck. See you later.